All right, welcome. Today, we're jumping into a really fascinating article that asks a huge question. How is it that some people stay mentally sharp, I mean really sharp, well into their 80s and 90s? To get to the bottom of it, we're going to break down the science the article lays out. Okay, so let's get right into it. The source article starts with something I think we've all felt. You know, that frustrating senior moment when a word is right on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't grab it? Or you walk into the kitchen with total conviction and then blank, why am I here? It's a super common thing, but the article suggests it might not be a done deal. And this is where it gets really interesting. You've got what most of us think of as just normal brain aging on one side. But then you have this incredible group the article calls superagers. These are folks in their 80s and 90s who have the memory of people decades younger. I mean, they're just breezing through tough memory tests. So what on earth is their secret? To solve this mystery, the article points us to a big study from Northwestern University. The researchers there were basically detectives. They used MRI scans to get a look deep inside the brains of these superagers, hunting for clues, some kind of biological reason they seem to be winning the fight against time. So, what did those MRI scans actually show? Well, according to the source, one of the first major clues they found has to do with the brain's own personal security detail. It turns out the big difference wasn't brain size or anything like that. Nope. It all came down to the health of these tiny little cells called microglia. The article describes them as your brain's guardians, like a maintenance and security crew, all rolled into one. And these cells have a real Jekyll and Hyde thing going on. When they're healthy, they're amazing. They're builders, creating new connections and protecting your brain cells. But when they go haywire, they become destructive, causing inflammation and, contributing to those senior moments. Okay, so if these cells can go rogue, the big question is, how do we keep them on our side? The article zooms in on a nutrient called luteolin, and it cites this really remarkable finding from a study on old mice. The claim is that luteolin basically turned back the clock on their brain function. But keeping the brain's guardians in check is just step one. The article says there's another absolutely critical factor for a youthful brain, and it makes this really cool connection to the insane memories of chess grandmasters. And that factor is something called BDNF. Now that's a mouthful, so the article gives us this great analogy. Think of it as fertilizer for your brain. It's the key molecule that helps you grow new brain cells and forge new connections, which, is pretty essential for learning anything new. But here's the kicker. The article states that as we get older, our brain just stops making as much of this crucial fertilizer. And that drop is linked to all the things we don't want, like brain shrinkage and that foggy thinking feeling. To fight back against this decline, the source hits us with a pretty eye-popping number, 143%. So what in the world could cause a jump that huge? Well, that massive number is the increase in BDNF levels that a study, mentioned in the article, found in people just 1 hour after they took a special extract from coffee fruit. It's a pretty wild claim, suggesting there might be a way to quickly boost that brain fertilizer. Okay, so we've covered the brain's guardians and its fertilizer. The third key piece of this puzzle, according to the article, is all about the brain's internal communication system. This part of the story centers on a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. And again, the article has a fantastic analogy for this one. Think of it like a team of librarians inside your brain, constantly working to file away new memories and then go find the old ones when you need to recall something. And you can probably guess where this is going, right? Just like with that brain fertilizer, the article claims there's an age-related issue. It says your levels of this key memory messenger start to drop as early as age 40. Basically, your library staff starts to shrink over time, making it harder to find the information you need. So what's the proposed solution? The article points to a nutrient called alpha-GPC, and what makes it so special is that it has like an all-access pass to your brain. It's a building block for acetylcholine that can get past the brain's tough security and go directly where it needs to be. So what is all of this building up to? Well, the article's main argument is that there isn't one single magic bullet for brain health. Instead, it suggests a combined approach, a strategy that targets all these different aspects of brain aging at the very same time. And to really illustrate this idea, the article doesn't just stop at 3 ingredients. It lists a whole host of other nutrients, sort of like an all-star team, each with its own specific job, from scrubbing away brain rust to boosting energy and blood flow. Now, let's just zoom in on one of those claims for a second, because it throws out another pretty wild number. 12 years. What's that all about? According to the article, that's how many years were essentially wiped off the brain age of people in a Stanford study. It claims that after taking a nutrient called PS, a group of people with an average age of 64 started to perform on cognitive tests like they were 52. That's a pretty big deal. So, if you boil it all down, the entire scientific story the article tells comes down to this simple three-part game plan. It's about getting the guardians back in order, boosting the fertilizer, and hiring more librarians to support a brain that stays sharp and youthful. And that really leaves us with this one big idea to chew on. The core concept from the source isn't just about one little thing, but about tackling the problem from multiple angles at once. And it leaves us with a provocative question for you to think about. Could this kind of That's our deep dive for today.